Welcome back to another movie that's probably tied for the most whatever award since Spookies. And I kind of hate to say that because I feel like this movie has some fairly dedicated fans, and I'm probably going to piss some people off, but that's fine. I can deal. I'm 27. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Who cares anymore? Tourist Trap. Tourist Trap is directed by David Schmoller, director of the very first Puppet Master. He's to blame. And Please Kill Mr. Kinski, which is a whole story in and of itself. I don't really want to get into, but I will briefly because I put it down because it's the only other thing that's super notable. David Schmoller was directing a movie called Crawl Space where he had to work with an actor named Peter Kinski, something Kinski. His last name is Kinski, and this guy has a reputation apparently for being a real strict, hard knocks piece of shit to work with, and everybody hated working with this fucking guy, to the point that David Schmoller and another actor or another person co-directed a 5-minute short film called Please Kill Mr. Kinski. That's it. That's the background. There's probably more in-depth stuff and examples, but we got two back-to-back star-studded casts. We had Lance Henriksen in Pumpkinhead, and in this one we got
Chuck Connors
of Soylent Green and Terror Squad fame. I also think he's the Rifleman, but who gives a shit about that old show?
the Rifleman. Chuck Connors.
Tourist Trap can be very simply explained with it is standard teenagers go into the woods. I don't think they're teenagers. I think they're 20-somethings. They make mention the two of them are married. Whatever. It doesn't. Who cares? Okay, we'll move on. 2, 4, 5, 6. I think it's 6. I think it's 6 20-somethings go into the woods, and one dude gets a flat tire and leaves to go to a service station. He dies immediately. It doesn't matter. His name was Woody. He dies. So now it's down to 5. And now our group of main 5 is 3 girls. No, it's only 4. It's 3 girls and 1 guy. Never mind. Woody was the 5th. So our group is now 3 girls, 1 guy, and their Jeep breaks down, and they can't diagnose what the problem was. They can't figure it out. The guy also isn't a mechanic. He makes a joke that he's in law school. He doesn't know what the f he's talking about with cars. Okay, yeah, I get it. I also don't know what I'm talking about with cars. Look where I am. They wander around the woods. The girls do. The guy stays back with the car. They wander around the woods. They run into Chuck Connors, and Chuck Connors is very charming in this movie. He's a very charming fella, and he invites them back to his place while he goes and helps Jerry, was the guy's name, go fix the car. And they're gone for a bit. And it happens. There's a house next door. We get a side thing about how Chuck Connors' brother was a wax figure sculptor. He was hired by somebody in New York, so he's not around. Chuck Connors' wife is dead, so he's just been alone. That's that, and then people start disappearing and turning into wax or turning into mannequins. And turns out, oh my god, Chuck Connors was the evil brother, and Chuck Connors has been murdering people and dressing up as a mannequin to kill people, and also has telekinetic powers that are never explained. He just has them. Move on, shut up. And then the movie ends with our female lead killing Chuck Connors with a hatchet in the back of the fucking skull, and leaving in the same Jeep that wasn't working, but now all of a sudden is, and now she has the mannequin replicas of her friends in the car. Freeze frame, credits roll. I told you all of that in like 4 minutes. The movie takes 1 hour and 29 minutes to do it. To be fair, I watched the uncut version. There is a shorter one that's 1 hour 25, but I figured I'll watch the uncut one. Maybe there's some added stuff, and I'm sure there is. There's 5 minutes of added stuff, so I couldn't tell you exactly what's added, what's not supposed to be there, but I'd almost guarantee you that the hour 25 cut probably has a little bit. It doesn't feel as slow at times. I just watched the uncut one just because I was like, maybe it has more gore. Who knows? I don't know. This movie's rated PG, so I wasn't really expecting a whole lot, and honestly, that's fine. I have no qualms with a horror movie. Does not have to be a gory slop mess for me to like it. It just has to be interesting, and this one was not. It just wasn't all that interesting to me, at least. I guess if you're like really afraid of mannequins, this will probably do something for you. I used to be, not so much anymore. I still don't like them in real life, but they're not going to do anything for me in movies. And by that, I don't mean like the Target mannequins will scare me. I mean like, I don't know, you go to like a museum and they got those wax figures that move. I just don't like them. I just, when Abraham Lincoln's like moving and he looks at me, I just want to fucking, 4-7, you know? 4-7 punches to your face. I'm so fucking tired. This movie's so fucking boring. It's just boring. It's not a crime against God like stuff that her into the incinerator, but it was just kind of boring. I understand the cult following that it has. I get it. There's some stuff in there that's interesting enough. It's just not for me. It was just kind of without. I would say this movie would get a like half score lower if Chuck Connors wasn't in it. I almost fell over that. I don't even know what happened. Chuck Connors in this movie is so good, and I know I just got done fucking filleting Lance Hendrickson for being so good in Pumpkinhead. Chuck Connors in this movie is also incredible. So committed to this bit that it's fascinating to watch him, and when he's not totally insane, he is so charming and like just so like, I don't know, soft-spoken, or like, when he's telling you things about his past, I genuinely feel bad for him. He's so good in this movie, and that was shocking to me because I think to like Terror Squad, where he just doesn't care and he's over it. But again, I think this was like maybe 8 to 10 years prior or before Terror Squad, so this was 1979, Terror Squad was 80 something. He was probably more over it then than he was in 79. But yeah, he's really charming, and I really liked watching him in this movie. This one's also going to be like mercifully short, just because I really don't have a whole lot to say. There was never really any standout moments besides of course, besides Jerry jumping out the window. I gotta talk about Jerry jumping out the window. Hey, here we go. Jerry jumps out the window. So beyond that, it was just kind of there. This feels like, well, you know what? There is something to talk about. The Puppet Master involvement. This, to my surprise, was a Full Moon production. I knew it was Charles Band associated beforehand, but I thought that this was Empire Pictures, because this is 1979. But it opened up with the Full Moon logo, and that threw me for a loop. And then the director also directed the first Puppet Master. So there's our connections, I guess, but there's something to talk about. It was a Full Moon movie, and I did not register that. I didn't know that until going into it. I swear, I promise, I'm not trying to watch only Full Moon movies. If that was the goal, I would have specified that, but I'm not trying. He just keeps coming back. I just look for a title that looks interesting, and then I click play, and we see what happens. Overall, Tourist Trap was just kind of there. This very much seems like a lazy Sunday afternoon movie, which is hilarious because I watched it on a lazy Sunday afternoon, and it just made me more lethargic and bored. I do think, as a net positive, if you have kids or are a younger person yourself who was kind of like me in my teen years, where I didn't want to watch horror movies, but I had a fascination with them, so I would rather watch people talk about horror movies than watch them myself at the time. Tourist Trap is probably a pretty good starter horror movie. I would say this and like Gremlins. Gremlins, definitely. You'll probably like Gremlins more. You should really I'd honestly just watch Gremlins. But for like starter horror movies for like a younger demographic, a Tourist Trap isn't bad. There's barely any blood. Chuck Connors gets a hatchet to the back of the head, but it's not, I don't say it's not violent. It's violent in concept, but it's not like his head just doesn't fucking explode like Tom Savini's. So that's there. One girl gets a knife in the back of her neck, but again, not really that violent. Not really that bloody, I'll say. So I think this would be a fine like introductory horror movie if you wanted something that way. But overall, it just didn't vibe with me. I don't fault anybody for liking this, and I understand where the cult following comes from. I totally get it. I understand. It just wasn't for me. Overall, Tourist Trap is getting a 2 out of 5 for me. I think it would have probably been 1.5 if Chuck Connors wasn't so goddamn charming in this movie. If Chuck Connors wasn't here, and it was like somebody else, I don't even know who, Guy Rolfe, more Puppet Master connections. Why not? If it was Guy Rolfe, I don't think it would have worked as well. Or maybe it would have, because he's also really fucking sweet and pleasant in Dolls too. So I don't know. Maybe it would have worked better. Maybe this movie would have been like a 5-star, perfect. I don't know. The Tourist Trap was just okay. With that, tune in tomorrow for The Unknown. I don't know what's next. I've watched these movies in a batch, and here I am now. Bye. This movie's rated PG, Tubi. Hold on.
Like it's Tubi's fault.
Yeah, it's all Tubi's fault. No, it's 1979 PG. So they could have a boob or two in it.